The desert bath, the twin suns were falling low over the alien desert, painting the sand in shades of gold and red. Ethan Cole walked alone, his boots sinking into the fine dust. His backpack was heavy, his mouth dry, and his skin burned from hours. Under the strange sky, every step felt like a slow battle against the heat. The desert was silent. No wind, no sound. Only the soft crunch of his footsteps and his own breathing. He had been walking for hours when he saw it, a shallow pit filled with pale sand that seemed different from the rest. It glowed faintly, as if tiny stars were hiding beneath the surface. Ethan stopped, staring. This must be one of those healing sand baths the traders talked about, he muttered to himself. The locals had said these places could pull the pain out of your muscles, even heal small cuts and burns. He looked around. The desert stretched forever in every direction. No one was here. Perfect. He dropped his pack, kicked off his boots, and stepped into the pit. The sand was warm, almost like a gentle fire under his skin. He lay back, letting it cover him up to the chest. The heat seeped into his bones. His eyes closed. For the first time in days, Ethan relaxed. The world faded into soft warmth and silence. Then, crunch. His eyes opened. Footsteps, slow, light, not like human boots, more like silk sliding across stone. Ethan turned his head, but the low sun blinded him. A tall shadow stretched over the sand bath. "Hello?" he called. No answer. The figure stepped closer. Ethan blinked until his vision cleared, and his breath caught. It was not a man. Not human at all. The stranger's skin was silver, smooth, and almost glowing under the sunlight. Her hair fell in long strands that shimmered like liquid moonlight. Her eyes were large, bright, and strange, the kind of eyes that seemed to see inside your thoughts. Without saying a word, she stepped into the sand pit. Excuse me?" Ethan stammered, trying to pull himself up. "This is kind of personal space?" The woman looked at him, tilting her head slightly, and gave a small smile. "You, not from here," she said in a soft voice. Her accent was heavy, her words broken but clear enough. "But you are welcome." Ethan froze. He didn't know whether to laugh, run, or keep sitting there. "Right. Thanks," he said carefully. "But maybe you could find your own sand bath?" She ignored the hint. The sand shifted around them as she sank deeper, closing her eyes for a moment, as if listening to something far away. Then she spoke again, her voice lower, sharper. "We have little time. They will come." Ethan frowned. "Who's they?" She didn't answer. Instead, she placed her hand in the sand. The grains began to move, not like wind or water, but as if the sand itself was alive. It formed ripples, then glowing symbols that pulsed softly beneath the surface. Ethan's heart began to pound. "Okay, what is this place?" The woman's eyes opened. She leaned closer and whispered, "This is royal sand, sacred, only for the blood of the crown." Ethan gave a nervous laugh. "Royal? Like a queen?" Her expression stayed calm, but her gaze was locked on him. "Princess," she said simply. "Lyria, Princess Lyria of the Solari Empire." He almost choked. "You're serious?" She glanced toward the horizon. Her silver hair caught the dying light, glowing brighter for a moment. Then Ethan heard it, faint at first, then clearer, a deep horn-like sound rolling across the desert. The princess's face hardened. "They are close." Ethan turned his head and saw movement in the distance. Dark shapes, many of them, moving fast over the dunes, and they were armed. "Who are they?" he asked quickly. "My brother's soldiers," she said. "If they find you with me, you will die." Ethan's stomach dropped. "Then maybe we should—" She grabbed his arm suddenly. The sand beneath them gave way like water, pulling them down before he could finish. "Wait!" Ethan shouted. But the sound cut off as they sank. The glowing sand swallowed them whole. Darkness surrounded him, but it wasn't cold. He felt the grains slide over his skin, soft but heavy, pulling him deeper, deeper, and then, all at once, he broke through into a strange tunnel made of crystal walls glowing with blue light. Ethan gasped for air, his voice shaking. "What just happened?" Princess Lyria looked at him calmly. "You stepped into my world, human, and now there is no going back." Asterisk the unexpected guest. The glowing crystal tunnel seemed endless, stretching in every direction like a frozen river of light. Ethan turned slowly, his breath clouding in the cool air. The walls shimmered with colors that moved on their own, like living rainbows trapped in glass. Princess Lyria stood beside him, the faint glow from her skin reflecting off the walls. Her silver eyes watched him like she was studying a dangerous animal. Ethan swallowed. "So, where exactly are we?" "Beneath the dunes," she said quietly. "A path made by the old ones. Only royal blood can open it." Ethan frowned. "Right. And how did I get in here then? Pretty sure I'm not royalty." Her lips curved into a strange, unreadable smile. "That is the question, human." Before he could reply, a low hum filled the air. The crystal walls trembled. Ethan felt it through the soles of his feet. A slow, heavy vibration, like something vast was moving below them. "What is that?" Lyria's expression hardened. "Not soldiers. Something older." The hum grew into a deep, pulsing sound, almost like a heartbeat. In the distance, a section of the tunnel lights flickered, dimming one by one, coming toward them. Lyria stepped close, her voice urgent but calm. "Listen to me, Ethan Cole. We must move now. If the Wraith sees you, it will not stop until you are nothing but dust." Ethan's jaw tightened. "The what now?" She didn't answer. Instead, she reached into a hidden slit in her silver robe and pulled out a curved blade made of something that looked like black glass. The blade shimmered faintly, the edge so thin it seemed unreal. Without warning, she grabbed his hand and pulled him into a side passage. The walls here were rougher, darker, the glow dimmer. They moved quickly, their footsteps echoing in the narrow space. Behind them, the pulsing sound grew louder. Ethan risked a glance back, and his skin went cold. Something was sliding down the tunnel after them. It wasn't walking. It wasn't even solid. A swirling mass of black dust and shards of glimmering crystal, its shape constantly shifting. Where a face should be, there was only a jagged slit glowing faintly red. "Tell me that's not alive." Ethan breathed. "It is alive," Lyria said, her voice steady. "And it is hungry." The Wraith let out a sound, a hiss mixed with 1,000 tiny whispers. The tunnel lights dimmed as it passed, like it was swallowing the glow itself. Ethan's chest tightened. "You said this was a healing bath. Why does it come with a nightmare monster?" "You stepped into the affairs of a royal house," she said coldly. "Nightmares are the price." The Wraith's hiss turned into a piercing shriek, and it surged forward, closing the distance fast. Lyria stopped abruptly, slamming her palm against the crystal wall. A hidden door melted open, revealing a spiral staircase that descended into darkness. "Down?" she ordered. Ethan hesitated. "What's down there?" "Survival," she said. The shriek came again, closer this time. Ethan didn't argue. He took the steps 2 at a time, the princess right behind him. The door above sealed shut, just as a shadow swept across it. The hum faded. The tunnel above was silent. Ethan leaned against the wall, catching his breath. "Okay, starting to believe you're a real princess. And that thing?" "That was," Lyria cut him off, her voice a sharp whisper. "That was only the first." There are more. Before Ethan could react, something below them roared. Asterisk the sand secret. The roar from below was nothing like the Wraith's hiss. It was deep, guttural, the kind of sound that rattled the bones before the ears even caught it. Ethan froze. On the staircase, gripping the railing so hard his knuckles turned white. The air here was heavier, warmer, and carried a faint metallic tang like blood on a hot coin. Lyria didn't stop. She descended the winding steps with a pace that was fast, but controlled, like someone walking through a house they knew was already on fire. Ethan's voice was low, tight. Care to explain what's making that noise? She glanced back, eyes glinting in the dim light. The Guardian, he blinked. That's supposed to make me feel better? It should not be awake, she replied. But my brother's soldiers have broken many rules already. I should not be surprised. They broke this one too. Asterisk the roar came again, closer this time. The walls around them began to hum softly, as if the sound itself made the crystal resonate. They reached the bottom of the stairs, stepping into a vast underground chamber. The ceiling arched high above, made of the same living crystal, but fractured. Here and there, as if something had smashed against it from the inside, dot in the center of the chamber was a pool, not of water, but of sand, the same glowing grains as the bath above. The sand shifted slowly, swirling in a spiral, though there was no wind. Ethan's skin prickled. Let me guess. This is where you tell me this is just another spa. Lyria didn't smile. This, she said softly, is the royal heart. Every Solari ruler is blessed here. The sand binds them to the Empire, gives them the right to command. Ethan glanced at her. And you used it before? Her gaze sharpened. I was meant to, but I ran. Asterisk, before Ethan could press her, the sand in the pool bulged upward, as though something huge was rising from beneath it. A moment later, a shape emerged, a massive head covered in plates of crystal-like armor, each piece etched with glowing symbols. The creature's eyes were dark voids that seemed to drink the light around them. Its voice wasn't a growl this time. It spoke, though the sound was more like words forming inside Ethan's mind. You are not of the blood. Ethan's breath caught. He wasn't moving, but the sand beneath his feet shifted anyway, pulling him toward the edge of the pool. Lyri, a step between him and the Guardian. He is with me. He bleeds wrong. He should be dust. The creature's gaze locked on Ethan. A hot, heavy pressure filled his chest, like an invisible hand was trying to crush his heart. Ethan gasped, dropping to one knee. What the hell is this? Lyria's voice rose, sharp and commanding. He carries the mark. The sand chose him. The pressure stopped instantly. The Guardian tilted its massive head, a sound like grinding stone filling the air. If the sand chose him, then the Empire is in greater danger than I thought. Ethan pushed himself upright, heart still racing. Okay, what does that mean? The Guardian sank back into the swirling sand, vanishing as if it had never been there. Lyria turned to him, her expression unreadable. It means, Ethan Cole, that the sand gave you something it has not given in centuries. And now, my brother will kill worlds to take it from you. Somewhere far above, the Wraith shrieked again. Asterisk, the chase begins. Guardian's final words still echoed in Ethan's head as the sound of the Wraith's shriek cut through the crystal walls above. Lyria's eyes snapped upward. They've broken the upper seal. The Wraith is in the tunnels. Ethan took a step back. You said that thing would never... I said it would not stop until you are dust, she interrupted sharply. And now it has a scent. Before Ethan could respond, another sound joined the shriek, a metallic rumble like the grinding of tank treads. Lyria's voice dropped. Soldiers, Two enemies, both hunting. And he was in the middle. The chamber around them began to tremble. Tiny shards of crystal fell from the high ceiling like deadly snow. The glowing pool of sand rippled as if it could feel the approaching chaos. Lyria grabbed Ethan's arm. "We cannot stay here." She pulled him toward a narrow archway at the far side of the chamber. Beyond it lay a corridor unlike the others. The walls here were made of dark stone instead of crystal, lined with strange markings that pulsed like a slow heartbeat. Ethan glanced over his shoulder and froze. From the stairwell they'd come down, a black wave poured into the chamber. The Wraith's shifting form twisted and flowed, shards of glassy dust spinning around it like blades. It moved faster than anything that size should, sweeping toward them in near silence, except for that awful whispering hiss. Lyria shoved Ethan. "Forward. Move!" They ran. The stone corridor was narrow, forcing them into single file. The air grew hotter with each step. The markings on the walls began to glow brighter, their pulse matching Ethan's racing heartbeat. Then, a deafening clang. Metal doors slammed shut behind them, cutting off the corridor. Ethan stumbled to a stop. "Please tell me you locked it." Lyria's expression was grim. "That was not me." Before she could explain, the floor beneath them lurched. The whole corridor tilted sharply, sending Ethan sliding forward. He hit the ground hard and realized the stone was moving. It wasn't a hallway. It was some kind of transport, a massive stone sled sliding through underground channels. From behind, the faint sound of the Wraith's hiss slipped through the sealed doors. But ahead, Ethan saw something worse. Lights. Moving lights. Figures in silver and black armor emerged from the darkness ahead, their weapons glowing with the same pale blue light as the crystal walls. Their helmets had mirrored visors, hiding their faces. One of them raised a weapon, a long rifle that hummed like a live wire. Ethan's stomach dropped. "They've got us boxed in." Lyria's voice was low, controlled. "Not yet." She reached into the folds of her robe and pulled out a small sphere etched with shifting symbols. With a flick of her wrist, she hurled it down the sled toward the soldiers. It didn't explode, at least not in any normal way. Instead, the sphere unfolded into a cloud of silver mist that seemed to eat the light around it. The soldiers froze mid-step, their movements slowing as if time itself had turned thick. "Go!" Lyria snapped. Ethan didn't argue. They vaulted over the frozen soldiers, their bodies barely moving, as if trapped between moments. But as they landed on the far side, Ethan's foot hit the ground wrong. The sound echoed, and the Wraith's hiss came again. Much closer this time, the sphere's mist began to dissolve. The soldiers starting to move again. 3 dangers now: the Wraith, the soldiers, and the unknown forces controlling this shifting underground. Lyria didn't look back. "We are running out of safe paths, human. The next turn decides if we live." Asterisk the hidden enemy. The underground sled jolted to a sudden stop. The glow in the wall markings faded to a dull red, and for a moment, the only sound was Ethan's own. Breathing. Then a whisper, so faint he thought it might be in his head. "Ethan Cole." He froze. "Tell me you heard that," he said, looking at Lyria. She nodded, her face pale under the silver light. "The tunnels know your name now." "That should be impossible." Before Ethan could ask what that meant, the air shifted, warm one second, icy the next. The corridor ahead rippled, like heat haze, and then a shape stepped through the shimmer. It wasn't a soldier. The figure wore no armor, no weapon in sight. It was tall, impossibly thin, its skin the color of wet ash, with veins of faintly glowing blue running under the surface. Its eyes were a mirror of Lyria's, silver, luminous, and sharp. Ethan whispered, "Family?" Lyria's jaw clenched. "My brother." The man's voice was soft, almost kind, but it slid into Ethan's ears like a blade. Sister, you've brought me a gift. Ethan took a step back. Pretty sure I'm not on the gift list. The man smiled faintly. On the contrary. The sand spoke your name in the court of stars. That has not happened in 500 years. Lyria's eyes narrowed. Which is why you will kill him if you can. Her brother ignored her, his gaze fixed on Ethan. You don't understand? What you carry, human? That mark on your arm? It's not a blessing, it's a key. One that opens what the old rulers swore to bury forever. Ethan glanced at Lyria. Want to tell me what he's talking about? But before she could answer, the Wraiths' hiss exploded from the tunnel behind them, louder than ever. The black, shifting shape poured into view, its glass shard edges cutting the air itself. Lyria's brother didn't move. He simply lifted his hand, and the wraith froze mid-strike. The shards hung in the air like suspended knives. Ethan stared. You can control that thing? Her brother tilted his head. Control? No, but it knows me, knows the taste of my blood, which is why it will obey. For now. The frozen wraith's form began to twist, its shards rearranging into something almost humanoid. Ethan took another step back. Okay, this is officially above my pay grade. Lyria moved in front of him, drawing her curved blade. Her voice was low but fierce. You can't take him, Kaelin. The sand chose him. That means it's not yours to command. Her brother's smile widened just a fraction. Sister, nothing in this empire is yours anymore. The marking's on. The wall flared white-hot, and the ground beneath them cracked. The sled floor split open, dropping them into a vertical shaft. Ethan's stomach lurched as they fell, the sound of the wraith's hiss following them into the darkness. As they plummeted, Kellen's voice echoed above them, calm and cold. Run as far as you like, human. The sand always finds its key. Asterisk. The choice the fall should have killed them. Ethan braced for bone-breaking impact, but instead, the air itself thickened around him, slowing his descent until he landed in something soft and shifting. He sank to his knees, coughing as grains of glowing sand clung to his skin like static. Lyria dropped beside him, already on her feet. Her eyes darted around. No, this place shouldn't exist anymore. Ethan's breath came fast. The chamber they'd fallen into wasn't like the crystal tunnels or the dark stone halls. It was alive. The walls pulsed gently, like the inside of a giant creature. Veins of golden light ran through them, and faint whispers filled the air, too quiet to make out the words. The sand beneath them moved on its own, spiraling slowly, always pulling toward the center of the chamber, where a black monolith rose. From the ground, its surface covered in constantly shifting symbols. Ethan pointed at it. I'm guessing that's not decoration. Lyria's voice was tight. That is the core, the oldest part of the empire. It's where the first rulers spoke with the sand, and where they swore never to come again. The whispers grew louder. Ethan's skin prickled, his arm burning where the faint mark glowed under the sleeve. Lyria grabbed his wrist, pulling back the fabric. The mark, a spiral of interlocking lines, was glowing brighter now, pulsing in rhythm with the walls. This is why my brother wants you, she said. The core only responds to the key-bearer. It will open for no one else. Ethan shook his head. Open what? Before she could answer, the sand under their feet rippled violently, forming crude shapes, faces. Dozens of them, whispering. In unison. Choose. Ethan stumbled back. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. The sand faces shifted, merging into a single towering shape. A figure of pure golden grains loomed over them, its voice deep and resonant. The key must decide, restore the throne, or burn the empire. Ethan looked at Lyria, heart hammering. What happens if I choose wrong? She didn't answer. The golden. Figure's eyes fixed on Ethan. You cannot stand in the middle. Choose now, or be unmade. The mark on his arm burned hotter, pain lancing up into his shoulder. Images slammed into his mind. Cities of silver under alien skies, warships burning in space, the Wraiths devouring entire armies. He staggered, grabbing his head. Make it stop. Lyria stepped closer, her voice urgent. Ethan, listen to me. If you give the core to my brother, he will take the throne and turn the Wraiths into his army. But if you choose to destroy it, she hesitated. What? Ethan demanded. Her silver eyes locked on his. The sand will take you instead. The whispers became a roar. The golden figure reached out a massive hand of shifting grains toward him. Choose. Asterisk. The escape and the hint of more. The golden figure's towering hand hung inches from Ethan's chest, each grain of sand vibrating with an energy that made the air hum. Choose. The word hit him like a physical blow. His knees buckled, his vision fractured into flashes. Kellen's soldiers burning cities, wraiths tearing through the skies, the core pulsing like a heart the size of a planet. Lyria's voice cut through the storm in his head. Ethan, look at me. He blinked, focusing on her silver eyes. You don't have to obey it, she said fiercely. The core is old, but it's not infallible. There is always another path. Before he could answer, a crack of thunder rolled through the chamber. The air shimmered, tearing open like fabric, and Kalen stepped through, the wraith coiling at his side like a living shadow. So this is where you've been hiding, he said softly. His eyes went to Ethan's glowing arm. And there it is, my empire's salvation in the hands of a lost off-worlder. The golden figure turned its head toward Kalen. The sand hissed like steam. You are not the key. You are the blight. Colin's smile was thin. And yet, I will still take what I came for. He snapped his fingers. The wraith lunged out. Ethan barely had time to move before the creature's blade shards sliced through the air. Lyria leaped in front of him, her curved blade clashing against the wraith's glassy edges. Sparks of light and sand flew with each strike. The golden figure spoke again, louder this time. Key bearer, the choice cannot wait. Ethan's heart pounded. Destroy the core and die. Give it to Kalen and doom the galaxy. 2 bad doors, no exits. Then something flickered in his mind, a fragment of the visions the core had forced on him. He saw the sand, changing shape, bending like liquid under willpower. Not just a weapon, not just a throne. A bridge. He stepped forward, ignoring Kellen's shout. You said I had to choose between the throne and destruction, Ethan said to the golden figure. But you never said I couldn't choose something else. The golden figure tilted its massive head. The chamber went silent, except for the clash of Lyria's blade, and then Wraith's screech. Ethan pressed his marked hand to the monolith. The mark flared, not gold this time, but a deep, burning red. The walls shook. The sand exploded upward, wrapping around Kalen, Lyria, and the wraith all at once. Kalen roared. What have you done? Ethan's voice was steady, though his body trembled. I'm not giving the core to anyone. I'm taking it with me. The golden figure's voice rumbled like a collapsing mountain. The key makes its own road, so be it. Light engulfed the chamber. Ethan felt the sand rush into his veins, hot and cold at once, rewriting something deep inside him. The last thing he saw before the light swallowed everything was Lyria's face, shocked but almost smiling. Then, silence. When Ethan opened his eyes, he was standing in the middle of a human spaceport. His boots left faint trails of glowing sand with each step. Somewhere far away, he could still hear the wraith's hiss.